this.
Welcome back, guys, to another Clash Royale video, and today we're going to be opening up my very first tournament chest, and this was from the 600 player tournament that Orange Juice hosted last night. Now here is the final standings of the tournament. As you can see right here, I placed 74th out of 600 people, so definitely not too bad right there. I was part of the top 100 people in the tournament, and as a result, I get a chest with 60 cards in it and a guaranteed 2 epics, so definitely not too bad. I really do wish, though, that I placed it a little bit higher, because as you can see here, as you go up there, you're starting to get more cards in that chest. 90 cards right here, 130 cards right here, and if you go to the top, the number 1 player gets 3,000 cards, the second place player gets 2,000, and the third place player gets 1,500 cards. So I really wish I would have placed in the top 3 at least, but there were a lot of skilled players in this tournament. It's definitely a challenge getting in that top 100. In fact, I was within the top 50 at one point, and then I lost a couple battles near the end of the tournament, and that's why I ended up ranking in 74th place, which isn't too bad. So let's go ahead here and start opening up this chest, and then afterwards I want to share with you guys some replays of the top 100 battles, and hopefully that gives you guys an idea of what kind of decks and strategies are being used in these tournaments. So let's go ahead here. So what do we have? Starting here, we have some gold, obviously, 390 gold, and there's 3 other cards in there. So what else do we have? 46 ice spirits, not too bad right there. For the rare, we have 12 mini P.E.K.K.A.s, and then for the 2 epics, maybe we're gonna get some bowlers. What do we see here? 2 giant skeletons. That's not too bad though. The giant skeleton did just get a buff, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of those replays. So here we are, guys, facing off against Abraham from the Green Door, and he's actually using the Lava Hound, but he also has the Miner and the Princess in his deck, and I was actually using my Miner Balloon strategy. If you guys are interested in seeing a video on that, I will put a link in the description below. But I initially started out the tournament with my trophy pushing deck, which is the Hog Rider, the Valkyrie, the Musketeer, Goblins, and Spear Goblins, but I wasn't doing too well as I got higher up in the trophies, as I was facing more and more people that were just trained so well to counter the Hog Rider that I was having a hard time getting anything going. So I switched up to a Miner Balloon strategy because I wanted to do something that my opponents weren't expecting and hopefully catch them off guard. And the great thing is with the Miner, when a lot of people see the Miner, they think that I'm using the typical Miner cycle deck, but I have the Balloon in there as well, which kind of catches them off guard. Now, so far in this battle, we've done some decent damage to his tower, bringing it down to 1,600 health. His Lava Hound push didn't get anything accomplished. Both of my towers pretty much full health, and one of the main problems with his deck here, guys, is all of his defensive troops are weak to splash damage. He has Goblins, Spear Goblins, Minion Horde, as well as the 3 Elixir Minions, and all of those things can pretty much die to my Zap and my arrows, or my Valkyrie, so he's pretty weak on defense, and I want to try and keep the pressure on and keep him playing in a defensive position and try and prevent him from setting up a strong push with that Lava Hound. So right here, just going to ignore those minions, start building up some Elixir. I do have the damage lead, so I don't need to do anything crazy to win this battle. I want to play it safe, and that's really important, guys, because as you get higher up in the trophies in a tournament, your opponents are really skilled and they don't really make mistakes, and if you make one mistake, they usually will try and capitalize on it and win the battle. So you have to play it to the best of your abilities to win these tournaments. I know a lot of people think that it's pay to win with these tournaments and that you have to have the legendaries to win, and I will say there are a lot of legendaries in the top of the tournaments, but there are also people using different kind of decks, like a giant balloon deck or Hog Rider decks. The Hog Trifecta was really popular at the top of the tournaments, and that doesn't require any legendaries. So like I said, there are some strategies that you can use to win tournaments that don't require legendaries. It just requires being really good at this game, because like I said, the competition is fierce in these tournaments. People are really skilled and they usually don't make mistakes, and if you make one mistake, like I said, they will capitalize on it. But so far in this battle, like I said, we're rating pretty good. His tower is now down to 700 health, so we even have more of a damage lead so far. He's trying to set up a second Lava Hound pushing left hand side here. Musketeer going in, she's going to be distracted by the Lava Hound. I'm not really going to worry about supporting her because those Spear Goblins will take her out, but as soon as he drops down the Princess, I know I have an arrows worthy target, so down go the arrows, and fortunately I also managed to get the Minion Horde in the process, so that was some pretty big value for that one set of arrows, taking out the 5 Elixir Minion Horde, the Spear Goblins, as well as the Princess. Miner going in here, getting some quick chip damage onto that tower. And at this point in the battle, guys, we have 3 minutes left of overtime. His tower is down to 600 health, and there's really no way to prevent 600 damage to a tower when somebody is using the miner. And that's one of the great things with the miner and one of the reasons why it's so strong. All I really have to do is mix up my location where I place the miner, and I will get some chip damage done to the tower. Right here, he's setting up yet another lava hound push on the left-hand lane. I'm going to go in with that miner, and like I said, mixing up the location, he expected it in the back left corner, and as a result, I was able to do some damage to the tower. Right here, Goblin sneaking in there, giving me the 1 crown victory. Let's go ahead to the next replay here. So here we are, guys, facing off against Hikalu from the clan Reddit Bravo, and he's actually using a Mortar strategy, which is the one and only battle I faced in the entire tournament against someone using an Expo or a Mortar. More importantly, he was using the Ice Wizard Princess combo, which is extremely popular in the tournaments, guys, and I will admit the legendaries are very strong in this game right now, but they are not a requirement for winning tournaments. I've seen a lot of people in the top 100 using decks that didn't have any legendaries in it. You just have to be really skilled at this game, guys. I definitely think skills outweighs what kind of cards you have, but like I said, you are going to face a bunch of legendaries in the top of the tournaments, so you have to be experienced with dealing with them. Now, so far, when he dropped down that Mortar right there, I was kind of caught off guard, and I was immediately worried about getting some damage into my tower. It brought back some nightmares to the days back when the Mortar was so prominent in this game, but fortunately, we didn't actually take any damage to our tower. Now, right here, I'm actually going to ignore this Ice Wizard, let him get 2 hits on my tower, and start building up that elixir to set up a strong push. Now, I'm fairly certain that he doesn't have too much air defense in his deck, because I've seen a bunch of his cards so far, but take a look at this. He drops down his Mortar as well as his cannon to distract my balloon, which is like 7 elixir investment to distract a balloon, which only cost me 5, and I also managed to get 1 hit on the tower, so that was a huge elixir advantage for myself right there. So far in this battle, there's 1 minute and 35 seconds left. Both of my towers pretty much full health. His tower down onto 1300 health on the left hand side, so I definitely have a strong lead, even though he has 2 legendary cards in his deck. Now right here, going to start setting up a push on the left-hand lane, and one of the great things with this deck, guys, is there isn't only one pushing strategy, there are multiple pushing strategies. I can go in with a Valkyrie as well as a Musketeer, or I can use the Miner and some Goblins, or the Miner and the Musketeer, or I can even use the Miner and the Balloon. With my previous Hog Rider pushing strategy, sometimes I would get caught with a bad starting hand, like Goblins, Spear Goblins, Zap Spell, and a Cannon, and I didn't really have anything to do, and if my opponent placed down like a pump at the start of the battle, I was kind of sitting there with nothing to do. I couldn't put on any immediate pressure, but with this deck here, there's multiple different pushing strategies, which is always an ideal thing. Now right there, the Miner was able to go in there and do some damage to the tower. Balloon unfortunately getting distracted by the Cannon, but that's honestly not too bad, because that means he's spending a ton of elixir just to distract a Balloon. Now right here, sneaking in that Miner, and once again, he drops some Goblins. I'm going to go ahead and zap them away and let that Miner do some pretty decent damage to the tower. And take a look at this. Even though he has the Ice Wizard and the Princess alive, the Miner was able to bring the tower all the way down to 30 health. And things are looking pretty good, guys. All I need is a set of arrows to finish that tower off, and I will get the 1 crown victory. So here we are, 12 seconds left. Goblin's taking out that Mortar. He drops down the Zap Spell, and I'm just going to keep the pressure on for fun, just to get the victory. So here we are, guys, 3 seconds left. I do have the 1 crown victory. Let's go ahead to the next replay. So here we are, guys, facing off against Tapia Nation, and he's actually using a Royal Giant strategy. And I will say that I noticed a lot of people using Royal Giant decks, Hog Rider decks, Miner Cycle decks. All of the popular strategies are popular in tournaments as well, so you have to be prepared to counter them. And if you're one of the people that the Royal Giant is giving you a hard time and you think it's really overpowered, you have to try and think of ways to counter it and beat it, and you just have to practice, because if you just give up and just tell yourself that the Royal Giant is overpowered, there's no way to counter it, then you're not going to win those tournaments. You have to strategize and you have to think of ways to counter the Royal Giant effectively. Now right here, he's coming in with his Royal Giant, going to go ahead and use the Valkyrie as well as the Cannon to distract it, and then the Musketeer from the side to take it out. He's only going to get 1 hit on my tower. Now, I know a lot of you guys are saying that there's no way to prevent a Royal Giant from getting 1 or 2 hits on your tower, but honestly, 6 elixir spent on a Royal Giant to only get 1 or 2 hits on a tower is a huge elixir loss for your opponent, and you have to punish them for that. Now see right here, I was able to go in there with a pretty strong counter push and bring his tower all the way down to 32 health. So at this point in the battle, even though my opponent is using a Royal Giant deck with both the Princess and the Ice Wizard in it, which is a really strong strategy, I still managed to get myself a huge damage lead so far in this battle. Now, because the tower on the right hand side is down to 32 health, all I need is a set of arrows or the zap spell to finish it off. So I want to start focusing on the left hand side here with the Valkyrie, and he ends up dropping his princess within range of the tower. So we're going to go ahead and use the arrows to finish off that tower and kill the princess. So pretty huge value right there. Now Valkyrie going in there, she will be able to kill the goblins, which is pretty good for me. I wasn't really expecting her to kill the Ice Wizard with both towers in range, but the fact that she was able to kill the goblins is just a bonus. Now right here, going to go ahead and use the cannon to distract, and then use the goblins to take her out. Now fortunately, I did manage to slip in the miner in there to distract the Ice Wizard, which is really important because I needed those goblins to kill the Royal Giant, so I had to have the Ice Wizard distracted. And that's what I mean about strategizing, guys. You have to try and figure out ways to counter your opponent's cards. If I didn't have the miner in my deck, I probably would have used the Valkyrie to distract the Ice Wizard and then used the Goblin from a different angle to take out the Royal Giant. Now right here I have another counter push going on, Valkyrie doing damage to the Royal Giant, Cannon going down to distract it, and he drops down the minion horde here. I'm going to use the arrows there. Now I could have used the Zap spell, but unfortunately the Zap spell doesn't kill the minions, and with the tank up front I had to use the arrows to kill the minions. Now right here having a strong counter push once again, Miner distracting the tower, Balloon going in there, and at this point in the battle with 25 seconds left, given that I have a 2-crown lead so far, he's actually given up and he's going to let me get the 3-crown victory. Anyways guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you think of the tournament system so far. What kind of decks are you guys facing in the tournament? And I want to know what kind of decks you guys are using that are working well for you in the tournament. And even though I did have the miner in my deck, which is a legendary, like I said before, there were a lot of people competing in the top 100 of the tournament that didn't have any legendaries in their deck. But anyways guys, that's going to do it for the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.